College football is different because of all of the different forces at play, because there's not 30 teams, there's not a commissioner, Salk, there's not some of those things that the NFL and the NBA and those leagues have in professional sports, because it is the Wild West, because there are no rules and regulations going on in some facets of the whole deal right now, because there is not one central voice, because the NCAA, thanks to the Supreme Court, has almost no power and wields almost no power and direction. I'm not going to say never. I'm not going to say it's not going to happen, but in the short term, with the new TV deals that these conferences have signed, it's not going to happen in the short term. So can they survive? Can they thrive? Can they prove everybody wrong over the next few years? And then maybe when the thing goes to, 32 teams, maybe when it goes to the next iteration of whatever that change is going to be and nobody knows, can they have a seat at the table then? I don't know. But I know in the short term, the amount of hurt, the amount of damage is done to that special place in the Palouse is going to be enormous.
Yeah, and maybe it's relevant today now that the regular season is over and it really starts to sink in that this is now going to be real. Like right next year, those teams are actually gone, and it becomes real life that Washington State and Oregon State are just no longer a part of this anymore.
That's right. And when you do, like you see these numbers, and I've seen them the last few years. I look at the ratings every single weekend. I saw what our Wisconsin-Wazoo game did last year in Madison. Oh, by the way, they beat them. Cam Ward and the Cougars went to Wisconsin, and unfortunately for Paul Christ and his staff, it was the beginning of the end when they went there and beat them, and 4 million people watched. I want to watch this team. They've watched the Cougs through the years. When you put them on network television, they're going to watch them. I like that team up there. That's Ryan Leaf. That's Drew Bledsoe. That's Tim Rosenbach. That's the throwing Samoan. That's history and years and years and years and years. And Jason Gesser, and they went to a Rose Bowl, and they've won games, and that's a great market. That's a great town, right? That is the Green Bay and the Buffalo. That's like the fabric of just like the NFL needs New York, it needs Green Bay. It needs L.A., it needs Buffalo. Right? It needs those markets. And to me, the fabric of college athletics, you need a Pullman. You need a Corvallis. It's not all just these major markets. And then, by the way, if you look at the numbers and why this all happened anyway and why they're the most hurt anyway, it's because those markets in the Bay Area could care less about the product and care less about football. And yet they find a home. Right? That's the thing that I think is singularly most aggravating.
Right. That all the talk
everybody else found
passion.
A home. Everybody else found a home.
Right.
Everybody else, right? We're playing the game, and we're at the carnival, and, the musical chairs, and the music stops, and even these slappies who didn't care, who did the damages, whose leadership failed, all of us, they have a chair. And I don't have a chair? I don't have a seat at the table?
Yeah, it doesn't seem right.
It just is so wrong on so many stinking levels, so. So people wondered why I got a little emotional before, the start of the Apple Cup. Why that was real in that moment, because I had flashes of Steve and the Haynes family and Colin Henderson and the late Jerry Henderson and all the Cougs that I grew up with in Puyallup and all my friends that are Washington State Cougars and all my teachers that were Washington State alums. I had all of them flashing through my head and this is going to be the last one in conference? It's just so wrong. And they have been so wronged in this process. They did more with less, just like the Beavers, did more than anybody else, did more with less. And yet these are the two that are most hurt. It just absolutely stinks.